You won't always attract what you want, but you will always attract what you are. It's interesting because sometimes we have this desire to manifest something. We have this desire to create something in our life, but then who we are being completely goes against that thing that we truly want to see happen in our life. And so in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you how to manifest faster by changing who you are at the core, changing who you are at such a deep level that you automatically are in perfect alignment to manifest that thing that you truly want in your life. And so that's exactly what we're going to be talking about in this video. So if you're new to this channel, what I want you to do is to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, because I do post a new video every single day. Also, if you want to work with me one-on-one personally, hit the link that's in the description box of this video to apply for a free consultation. So the very first thing that's super important to consider is you will not always attract what you want, but you will always attract what you are. Now, what does this mean? This means that if you want to be happy, but you are depressed, and that's what you think you are, at least in that present moment, and that's the identity that you're identified with, then you're not going to be able to be happy because you believe that you are depressed. If you want financial abundance, but you are scarce in your mind, you're vibrating at a frequency of scarcity, you believe that you are in scarcity, but you want financial freedom, then it will not allow you to manifest financial freedom. So how do we actually change this? Well, it's important just to have that realization first. Before we talk about how to change it and we get too ahead of ourselves here, just understand that what you are is going to be extremely important. What you are, who you are being in that present moment is a lot of the times going to be much more powerful than focusing on what you want, changing who you are. Now, can you still manifest without changing who you are at the core? Absolutely. And if I was to say that you can't, that would definitely be a limiting belief. And that would definitely be something that's not true, because really you can manifest anything that you want regardless of who you are and the frequency that you're at. But the thing is, you may get that manifestation, but unless you change who you are at the core, it may not last for a long time. Maybe you'll find a way to lose that money, or to lose the financial abundance, or to lose the relationship, because your frequency is at such a level that it's not allowing you to maintain the manifestation. And so you don't always attract what you want, but you will always attract what you are. So the key is to understand that. That's just the first step. Before we go into how to do that, how to change who you are, it's like, Francis, that makes sense. How do I change that? Like, if I am in scarcity or I am depressed, how do I change that? Well, first understand that is not who you are. You might have an identification and some belief system and some attachment making you think that's what you are. But the question I would ask you is that true in the whole universe? Or is that something that you actually created within yourself at some point in your life based on the automatic subconscious agreement that you made this agreement, and now it's deep in your subconscious mind? But is that true? Is that true in the whole universe, or is that just what you think you are? Right? Because if you think you are something, you will become that. Right? If you say I am something, you'll literally become that thing that you think you are. And so maybe you're not that thing universally speaking, but then because there's an unconsciousness there, because there's a lack of awareness there, you will literally become that thing in that moment until you choose to actually step away from it and choose to be something else. But here's the thing, you can't let go of something unless you first become conscious of it first. It's like telling somebody to, relax their face muscles, but they don't even know that they are very tense. You have to become conscious of it first. So the key is just to have the awareness. Before we go any deeper, just be aware that you will not always attract what you want, but you will always attract who you are being and what you are. Now, what does this mean at a more how can I explain this a little bit deeper? Well, this leads me to the second thing, which is what you are is going to be based on your vibration. a lot of the times. So your vibration and the frequency that you're resonating at, which is another fancy word for your mood, your emotional state of being. Now we are vibrating, everything is frequency, but it's also your mood. That's another way to say it in more layman terms, but it is all vibration, it is all frequency though. So your mood, your emotional state of being, and your vibration and your frequency will literally be reflected back to you at all times in your life. So if you're at a very low frequency where you are, here's just an example, and you're super scared and you're super set on this idea that everybody's judging you. Now the thing is, people have their judgments even when you're at a high frequency, but if you're at a low frequency, it's like you're going to literally enter a reality where you're almost creating people judging you more. Now, when I say things like people are judging you no matter what, no matter what frequency you're on, that might be an assumption that I have in my subconscious mind. Who knows? But I just know that the nature of the ego is to judge. So it's not to have this expectation that people are never going to judge you. That just may be a part of life and might happen sometimes, but who knows? Maybe that's just an assumption too. But the thing is, when you are at such a low frequency, not from a judgmental point of view, but like sometimes we can all fall into these frequencies where you get to such a low frequency that you're so scared that people are going to judge you, and you're so depressed and you're so worried, you're literally going to find all reasons in your reality to confirm that back to you, why people are judging you. And then they actually do start judging you, but it's because you came off a certain way. And imagine if you're consistently worried that people are judging you, you're at this low frequency, you're so worried, you're so scared, there's so much anxiety, and all you can think about is that that people are judging you. That's because you are in this low frequency. So because you're in that frequency, what happens is that people actually, I hate to say it, they end up actually judging you. It's like if you're so worried that somebody is judging you and you're insecure about yourself, people are going to reflect that insecurity back to you. Does that make sense? So it's like if you're at a low frequency and you are insecure, you're going to see that reflection back at you. No one's going to think you're insecure if you're confident and have congruency within yourself. If I was recording this video and I was so scared that I'm, coming off a certain way and I'm so nervous, of course I may get that reflection back. Even if it's at a very subconscious level and people won't say anything, they'll actually feel it off my body language, because your body language and the way that you talk and what you are, people are going to feel that. People are going to feel what you are, and the universe will feel what you are. So if you are in scarcity and you think, oh my gosh, like I don't have money, I'm, scarce, there's never enough, the universe literally says, that's exactly right. That's what you are. You are not enough. You aren't scarce, because that's what you are in that moment. That's what you think you are. So then you see that reflection back coming right at you. That's how this universe works. There's no separation between me and you. If I am at a high frequency, then I get high frequency energy back most of the time. Of course, there's the odd case when somebody is just going to reflect their frequencies to me, but like that's just life. But it's like you literally are the creator of your reality. And so you're going to, and it's like the key is when you don't take my word for it, but you literally will start to notice that it's like, okay, if I'm at a low frequency, I can literally see the reflections coming right back at me. That is when your reality will shift. When you can literally notice a contrast in your experience between a low frequency and then you see the reflections coming back at you, and then you somehow have it within you to maybe do meditations or become present to the moment and have more consciousness and be present to the moment, raise your frequency, do what you can to raise your frequency, and then you start to see, wait a second, why are people acting so differently? Why are people randomly complimenting me more? Because you changed who you are. You changed your assumptions about reality. You changed the fact that you before thought that automatically the assumption was, oh, I'm insecure, people are judging me. But then you change your identity to somebody that is perhaps, you see yourself as good looking. Why is it that people randomly start complimenting you more? Maybe you even wear the same clothing you've always worn, but you carry yourself in such a different way. You change what you are. Now you're getting compliments all the time. I remember when I actually started to raise my frequency a little bit more, I started to raise my consciousness and become more confident within myself, where in the past I used to have a lot of social anxiety growing up, which seems like a past life at this point. It just seems like a completely different reality. I remember I started to randomly get more compliments in public, and I started to realize that, wait a second, what I am is actually changing the way that people perceive me. What I am, who I am being, is going to change people's perception of me. My perception of myself will change other people's perception of me. That's a huge insight to have. Let that one sink in for just a moment. I'm going to say that one more time. My perception of myself will literally change other people's perception of me. Your perception of yourself will literally change other people's perception of you. And this goes way deeper than just compliments and perception. This applies to financial abundance. This applies to how people perceive you. This will apply to literally everything in your life. It will change how you manifest. When you change who you are at the core, you will manifest much, much faster, and everything that you want will fall into your reality in a much faster way. Now, the third thing I want you to understand is that yes, your thoughts create your reality. Another thing that I share sometimes is that your emotions will create your reality. Your state of being will create your reality. Your vibration creates your reality. I share that in a lot of my videos. Now, to go at the core, to manifest faster, how to manifest faster by changing who you are, is to understand that your consciousness creates your reality. Okay, everything that you see in your life right now comes from your consciousness. Yes, your thoughts create your reality. Where do your thoughts come from? From your consciousness. So the key thing that I really want you to understand in this video is that it is going to increase your manifestation time by an extremely high amount when you learn to raise your consciousness. So whatever you can do to raise your consciousness, you want to do meditations. Meditations, at least in my opinion, are one of the most powerful tools to raise your consciousness. I do it every single day and have been doing it every single day for the last 4 or 5 years, and will continue to do it every single day for the rest of my life, because maybe some days I'll skip, I don't know, but I haven't skipped a day, and I don't even know how long, and I don't plan to, because I experienced the contrast of my consciousness going lower. I manifest slower, I get into a lower state of being, I don't feel so good. So meditation is one way to do it, and the reason I do it is for that reason that I just stated. You can do things like being in alignment with your passion and feeling the flow state with what you love doing. That's going to change your frequency, change what you are, who you are being in that present moment. Now, whatever the case is, whatever you do to connect to that state of being, not by doing, but by being present to the moment, what's going to happen is you're going to start to notice and become conscious of the fact that literally your consciousness creates your reality. Your consciousness literally creates your reality. When you become conscious of the fact that you are not your thoughts, you are not your emotions, you are not your body, you are none of those things, but you are actually the consciousness to perceive all those things, you can literally start to create your reality in a way that you were never going to be able to do beforehand unless you first raise your state of consciousness. I'll give you an example that really blew my mind when I realized this. This is going to really blow your mind, so be ready for this. Be ready. This will change. If this truly hits you, it will change your life. Imagine, have you ever been in a dream where you were in that dream and then you actually realize that you're in the dream? This is what you call a lucid dream. And then the moment that you realize I'm in the dream, it's like you have a realization, not at the thought level, but at the consciousness level, where you're like, wait a second, you don't say this consciously in your thoughts, but it's like you take a step back from the story of the dream. Keep back in mind how this is going to connect back to your life, but I'll connect it back in a little bit. But just as I'm saying this, try to connect it back to your life. You're in the dream, right? And then you realize, and this only applies, by the way, if you know what a lucid dream is, and I'm sure you've experienced at least one in your life. If you haven't, well then try to experience one and you'll realize what I mean. But if you have already, this is going to help you to understand what I'm saying at an extremely high level. So you're in the dream and you realize you're in the dream, right? It's like you realize, like, wait a second, I was sucked into the story of this dream and the autopilot stuff that has been happening automatically. And it's like I've been just following this story, sort of, right? And then at some point you realize, wait a second, I'm in a dream. And then you realize you're in the dream, and then you can actually start changing the content in the dream, and you start manipulating things, you start changing things, you start changing the dream, and then you can start flying, you can start doing this, you can manifest people, you can manifest this. You literally start manifesting all these things. You wait a second, I have more control than I thought. I'm in this dream. Now, what if I told you life is not so different, but it's a more dense form of reality? Because a dream is pretty much just like reality, except that this is more 3D, this is more physical. And it's not gonna happen as fast as the dream where you start flying right away when you start thinking about flying, but it will be the same thing. And so how does this happen? This happens when you realize that you are not your thoughts, you are not the autopilot story that you've been conditioned to believe, you are not even the emotions that you feel in this moment, and you have more conscious choice than you think to literally manipulate and change and in a way control this reality more than you think. Now, it's a paradox because you're going to be able to control more when you surrender more, which we'll get to in another video. Letting go and not fully controlling everything is going to help you to manifest by letting things flow. But just for now, understand that if you realize the consciousness that you are at the core, you will literally be able to change your reality in a much more powerful way. Because your thoughts create your reality. They do, just like in a dream. But the thoughts come from the consciousness that you are. And so the more that you become conscious of what you are and who you are as consciousness, as the observer, and you separate who you are, the truth of who you are, so to speak, from the content of reality, because there's thoughts, there's emotions, there's feelings, there's form, that's content, but there's the deeper aspect of who you are that completely transcends all of the content and the surface level form stuff. When you have that insight, you'll be able to manifest faster. So the thing I want to conclude this video with is when you raise your consciousness, if you just focus on raising your consciousness, do what you can to raise your consciousness, to raise your frequency, to raise your vibration, to become more conscious, what will happen is you will manifest much faster. The degree to which you can increase your state of consciousness will allow you to manifest faster. It will literally speed up the speed of your manifestations. It'll literally speed up how fast you get your manifestations, how effective you are at manifesting, how grounded you are in your reality, and your consciousness will speed up the entire manifestation process. Okay, so that's all I have for this video. Once again, if you want to work with me one-on-one personally, hit the link that's in the description box of this video to apply for a free consultation. As always, have yourself a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.